Somewhere, Ric Flair is giving a cheer of victory as Jim Herd has fucked off. Hello there, welcome to episode 42 of From Then to Now, the TEW 2020 show where we take the World Wrestling Federation from 1992 all the way up to the modern day. And today we've got two more superstars before we get to our next Saturday night's main event. And I think we're going to give you a little bit of a treat today, because both of those superstars are going to be in this episode. It's a double barrel episode. So next episode will be Saturday night's main event. I'm excited. I hope you guys are too. So it's a bit of a longer video, so I probably don't want to ramble too much here. Let's get right into it then. And the show starts off slightly differently. And it starts with the Horsemen in the ring. Flair, Perfect, Michaels and Luger. Perfect's injury isn't too bad. We're alright. But they come out and Ric Flair's basically saying, last week we attacked Bret Hart and we took him out of action. He's not here this week because he had the audacity to jump the queue. You don't get to jump the queue around me. At SummerSlam, I defeated the best there is, or whatever he likes to call himself. And yet somehow he's the one who went up to face Yokozuna? I'm not having that. So yeah, I took him out because that should be my spot. I should be fighting Yokozuna at Survivor Series, not Bret Hart. And then, you're making a rare in-ring appearance, Jack Tunney comes out. And he basically says, Flair, in my hand I hold a contract. I have not had Bret sign this contract yet, but I would like you to. This contract will guarantee a rematch from SummerSlam for Saturday night's main event. It'll be the main event of the show. And the winner of that match will get a WWF World Heavyweight Championship shot at Survivor Series against the monster Yokozuna. And Flair just laughs at him and he's just like, I'm not going to sign that. I don't need to face Bret. I should be getting that title shot anyway. I can't do a Ric Flair impression, that's why I'm not doing the voice for him. And Jack Tunney says, well, Flair, if you don't sign this contract, then Bret will automatically be given the title shot as soon as he signs it. And something just clicks in Flair's mind. You know, he realizes, so if I don't sign the contract but Bret does, I forfeit the match, giving Bret the title shot. And suddenly, Flair just grabs the contract and signs it, handing it back to Jack Tunney. Perfect, Michaels and Luger are a bit shocked. J.K. Dillon's clocked on what he's done though. And Flair just slowly ushers them down, telling them that he's got this under control. Dillon laughing in the background. And then we jump into our first match, which has the Horseman in it, as Luger defeats Barry Horowitz in 11 minutes and 15. They both eliminated each other essentially from the Battle Royale last week. So we're getting a singles match here. And Luger wins with a roll-up. It's not a dominant victory. Horowitz looks good here. Because sometimes if you stumble into something, you can't just leave it. You've got to actually work with what you've got. And this Barry Horowitz versus the Horseman storyline has stumbled into my lap. But I can't just bury Horowitz because of it. 49 rating, goes just over 11 minutes. Good stuff. In our final quarterfinal match, Satoshi Kojima, the guy who won the Battle Royale last week, defeats Genichiro Tenryu in 7:27 with the Cozy Cutter. Puts Kojima into the semi-finals. Tenryu got a major rating, but I really need Kojima to get this pop. Which I believe then cuts straight to, the 4 people from the semi-finals, which both matches will be happening next week with the final at Saturday Night Main Event. Pretty self-explanatory tournament, but it'll be Steve Williams versus Razor and Cactus versus Kojima. I'm excited. I am actually. These matches look like they're going to be great fun. It probably would have been a better rating if it was Tenryu in there, but I do think, it's not. I don't need Tenryu to be. Tenryu is a lot older than Kojima. Probably got less in him in the future. It's not really worth it for me to be pushing him as the top Japanese star with Kojima and Yokozuna in the mid-card underneath him. Yokozuna's got to be the top star, and I think Kojima is number 2. Maybe Tenryu pits ahead of Ogawa, I'm not certain. And then, basically, with this whole Bret Hart situation, Dusty cuts a promo, and he's got the Hart cousins, Jim Neidhart and Owen Hart, or brother-in-laws, and they cut a promo, and they announced that next week they're going to be challenging the Horsemen, Luger, Michaels, and Perfect, to a 6-man tag, which will be Dusty's first match in ring back. 65 rating. Smoking Guns pick up a win against a Little Fun thrown together tag team with IRS and Repo Man, both people who like to take stuff when you can't afford it. Bart Gunn hits the Sidewinder onto Repo Man. Not too bad. It's a 54 overall, 51 for Repo Man, 60 for IRS, and a 42 for both of the Guns. Glenn Jacobs gets a quick victory over Rick Martel. Well, not quick, goes 7 minutes. But basically it's someone he can beat to boost his pop a little bit, because he's going into this match with Slaughter, and he's the heel. He needs to have some sort of believability about him. He needs to be able to beat a few people. A 59 rating, though, is not too bad. A 40 for Jacobs and a 65 for Rick Martel, who may actually hold the record for most underutilised person in this save. Who knows? The Road Warriors got a quick promo on the Blue Bloods. Just little thing. As Steven Regal defeats Terry Gordy with a quick roll-up, because Gordy refused to lose clean. We know that Regal and Taylor are facing the Road Warriors for the tag titles. I don't know if that's at Saturday Night's Main Event. I'm not sold on that yet. It might be. But we're getting this nice little triple 3-way feud brewing between the 3 top tag, basically probably the best in-ring tag teams we've got in the Road Warriors, the Miracle Violence Connection, and the Blue Bloods. And with another victory over the Violence Connection, the Blue Bloods are probably looking quite happy right now going into their match against the Road Warriors. The Warrior is about to cut promo when he gets attacked by the Undertaker. Taker just comes out and lays him out in the middle of his promo. Oakland does his hilarious, "Oh my," and gets out of the way. That was C3PO, not Oakland. And just gets out of the way of the brawl, and Taker choke slams Warrior onto the concrete floor in the interview section. 93 rating, great angle. The Nasty Boys get a quick victory over the Beverly Brothers. Not too much to say here. Trip to Nastyville, Brian Knobbs pins Blake Beverly. We have pretty much dropped the feud with the Bushwhackers because it just was not working. But 58 rating, good stuff. Yokozuna and Fuji cut a promo. Basically they're saying they don't care if it's Flair, they don't care if it's Brett. Nobody is taking that title off of Fujigun. But just as he says the word Fujigun, Yokozuna does sort of look at the belt. Basically implying that what Brett said to him a couple of weeks ago about Mr. Fuji's name being on the marquee is getting to him. And our main event sees Bulldog defeat Kama in a rematch from the King of the Ring final, actually. And it's got the exact same result here. Bulldog picks up the win, makes his first defence of the Intercontinental Championship. 71, good stuff. And overall, what do we get? A 75, that's actually a weak show. But we also had no Hogan, no Savage, no Brett. Shawn was only in the background. Flair was only in one segment at the beginning. Taker and Warrior only in one segment. This was a very much we're not utilising our top stars on this show. We want to see what our upper mid-card and mid-card can do to carry a show. And if they're putting out a 75, which I believe was pretty much what we were getting at the start of this save, I'm not going to complain about that. We've got another Superstars next week, which will be in this episode. So let's jump into that. Okay, and jumping back in for the second show of this episode, which is essentially a test to see if once the new year starts, if I keep doing Superstars as a separate episode, or if I put Raw and Superstars into one episode. That's essentially why I'm doing this. It's a test for me and for you guys. We're going to be actually in Canada. We're in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The Winnipeg Arena. 10,000 people in there. We should be selling this out. Let's go into this show. And we start up with an earlier today segment with the Horsemen. And it was Ric Flair arriving at the building very early. And basically they've scoured this building and they have found 4 doors. 4 entrances for wrestlers to get in. And Flair puts Perfect, Michaels, Luger and Dillon on each of those doors. And he tells them, Bret Hart must not enter this building. I'm going to go and stand outside Jack Tunney's door. He cannot sign that contract, which gives me the bypass. Means I can go straight on to face Yokozuna. Bret Hart must not sign that contract. Do you hear me? And Perfect, Michaels and Luger all nod. Yep, Dillon nods as well. And they go off to their respective doors. And Flair goes to Jack Tunney's office. And just stands outside. He will not let Bret Hart enter that room. And we kick things off with our semi-final as Cactus Jack defeats Satoshi Kojima. These guys get 20 minutes. Because, you know, it's the last one before a pay-per-view. You know what they're like with me. They're normally quite match-heavy. It's the big matches which aren't on the pay-per-view. They're normally quite a bit of fun. But Cactus Jack picks up the win with the double arm DDT to go to the final of the International Television Championship Tournament. Kojima has done pretty well in this tournament, beating Tenryu last week. Good match here against Cactus. With a competitive rating, actually, there is a big future for this kid. And speaking of Japanese stars, so this is someone who I signed, and I was originally a bit like, I don't really know what to do with him. There was a point where I had him signed, and I didn't think he was even going to show up until Gone WrestleMania. And then another company went under. I can't remember which one this was. But one of the people they had on their roster was Jim Cornette. And suddenly I had the thought of, it's going to be a slow burn. They're not going to be quick. Muta's still not going to be doing something major until after Mania. But if we can introduce him to the fans a bit more, because, you know, not everyone will have seen him as the Great Muta. Not everyone will know that he's the same person as the Great Muta. We can have a bit of fun with this, but Keiji Muto is in WWF. We got him in permanently from New Japan. I want to have this main event scene over the 90s to be a top in-ring scene. And, I think maybe sometimes a bit of the Japanese influence doesn't hurt with that. 67 rating. And second semi-final sees Razor Ramon defeat Dr. Death Steve Williams with the outsider's edge, the Razor's edge even, because I can't be asked to go and change this apparently. The Razor's edge gets a 68 and 80 for Williams, a 41 for Ramon. They have great chemistry, which is great news. That's definitely a match for the future. A 68 rating though, good stuff. Hogan cuts a promo. It's a pre-recorded vignette. It's him just talking about his stuff. He says he is going to be returning to the ring next week. As he starts to make his direction clear, where he's heading into 1993. 100 rating, great stuff. We then get a long shot. It's a nice cinematic shot. And it's Flair outside Tunney's office. And suddenly he gets something come through on his walkie-talkie, which he had. Which I hopefully did set up earlier. Flair literally runs from the office, one long take through the arena, and he finds a door open, and behind it is Mr. Perfect, laid out, unconscious. Perfect is out. He's been hit by this door. He's clearly been into a fight with someone. The door is wide open. Who could that possibly be in the building? Undertaker issues a challenge to Ultimate Warrior to go face to face with him in the ring on Superstars next week. So a little segment. This is the storyline we're kind of going with at the moment. Which keeps them ticking over. It's two main event guys having a go at each other. Not much more I can really say. Big Boss Man picks up a big victory as he tries to get towards the Mountie. He defeats his tag team partner, Carl Ouellette here. With the Boss Man Slam, Who Da Man. 53 rating, 53 for Boss Man, 37 for Ouellette. And Flair is back at Tunney's door, and all of a sudden, Oakland comes up and says, "So, Flair, surely you've got to take Perfect's place in this match in the main event, right?" And Flair knows he can't leave the horse. They're inside the ring. It doesn't matter about the other doors now. He can't leave the Horsemen on their own in the ring. They will get beaten, and that's all on him. But he can't leave the door. He is trapped in this situation. He knows he needs to go out to this ring. But as soon as he goes out, that door is completely unguarded. Gets a 100 rating. As we go into the main event itself, which gets a 76, not too bad. Flair, miles and away the best person in the match, gets a 96, an 80 from Michaels, a 53 from Luger, a 65 for Owen, a 59 for Jim, and Dusty was the weakest in the match with a 50 rating. But Dusty's here for other things. He's not going to be wrestling often, and very rarely in singles action. A 76 rating though, as well the original three of the Horsemen that we've had pick up the win. Ric Flair submits Jim Neidhart with the figure 4. And after the match, Flair is celebrating and he goes quickly to run up the ramp when Bret Hart's music hits and he comes out with Jack Tunney and signs the contract. The match is official tomorrow night in Montreal. It's Bret Hart versus Ric Flair. This is essentially me putting the odds in my favour to try and get 100. That's what I want. I want a 100 rated match out of these two. Gonna have no screw finish this time. I'm gonna do this properly in Bret Hart's hometown. What did we get overall? An 81. Not bad. The main event match being a 76 drove us down. The angles were good enough for us, but at the end of the day, for both of these shows, it doesn't matter what the game thought. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And well, means next episode is Saturday Night Main Event. Let me know what you think of these double barrel episodes and what we should do when we get into 1993 and we have Monday Night Raw coming involved. Should we be running these episodes in one, like an episode of Raw and Superstars, or should we put Superstars as a B show from then on, or Raw even as a B show? Could we change Superstars to SmackDown eventually? There's so many different potentials. But let me know what you think is the best idea, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye!